I've always been interested in maximizing technology, which, by the way, is one of our strategic objectives here at CREB. And this is me with our oldest daughter many years ago, Michelle. She was just not very impressed with my early efforts at directing data. I was experimenting. I realized later that I'd virtually invented the iPod, except I called it the MyPod, which was never going to fly. So. And then earlier this year, Cliff encouraged me to try some VR goggles. And again, as you can see, he's not as impressed as I am. I'm having a blast. I'm completely overwhelmed with the amount of data that's taking over my body. But to Cliff, it was just a toy. But then again, this is a guy who spent Halloween as a toy. Cliff's in a Barbie box. So this would be Ken. And but of course, his technology was never far away. He has his little data port there, and he's working. But I think we all approach data in different ways, and we make bargains along the way in what we agree to trade with data, big data. And this is Shane exchanging everything that's known about him on his credit card for a cupcake from a vending machine in Phoenix. So yes, at CREB, we always strive to maximize technology. So. Now, I'll give you a little bit of background on our journey that brought us to today, basically. And it started a couple of years ago when we started to get more and more concerned with the quality of our MLS database. And as a matter of fact, how we were even operating our member database and the quality of what we had in there. So over time, our board of directors considered a couple of ways to tackle this and finally landed on the idea of adopting a policy, because that's what board of directors do best. And it's their work. So everything starts with policy. So this is a series of points in the policy. I'm not going to go through them in great detail. You'll pick up the theme here with some of the highlighted words. But it really came down to recognizing there's many facets to sort of taking a holistic overall path to leverage data and for us to properly curate it in the best interest of our members. So just to recap those key phrases there, it's to do with change management, training, enforcement, which is really important because our members need to understand the value of our MLS database, that it's not just a marketing tool for them to modify at their whim. Third-party data standards is very important. Of course, finding new sources of data, you're going to hear a lot about that today, and creating the best pool for use in statistics, both internally for our members to use at a really detailed, granular level, and of course with their clients or directly to the public as well, or to government, all kinds of agencies. But even with the adoption of this policy, a period of time went by where we started to realize we still needed to know more. So I tossed the idea, Cliff, of the idea for a big data summit, and he jumped at the idea. Really, it was one of those things where it was kind of a meeting of the minds, and so we'll go into the introduction here. I'll just finish clicking through. Of our co-host today, and they really are the champions of technology at the Calgary Real Estate Board. And Shane Griffin, I'll get you to wave your hand. And he's our IT services manager. And Cliff Stevenson, our president, is going to be up here momentarily as well. And feel free to use the name Michael Thompson gave them last night, my colleague from the Realtors Association of Edmonton. He refers to them as Schliff. Cliff preferred Klein, but we think Schliff is worse, so we'll go with that. So please welcome CREB President Cliff Stevenson to share a few words. Cliff?
First of all, thanks to everybody for being here today. I know we've got people from far and wide. We've got people here from Ottawa, Toronto, Kelowna, the U.S. Jonathan's here joining us from the U.S. And me from Auburn Bay, which is pretty much Montana. So I came a long way too, but really happy to be here. The first version of the script said that you guys were in for a real treat because we had two amazing hosts. They canceled. So the second version of the script is you're stuck with Shane and I for the day. Apologies. We're going to do our best here to walk us through a great lineup of speakers and panelists. So thanks again for everybody being here today. I am excited about today, but I think it is important to reiterate what Alan's already stated. The success of today is going to depend on the engagement with you. I mean, this really is a two-way conversation. And for those of you that signed up that want to leave now knowing that, the door's right there. But we're looking for feedback and we're looking for input, we're looking for new ideas. We're looking for a true engagement and consultation with members and people who are outside of our membership as well. So excited about what today is going to be. Not 100% sure how it's going to go, and that's probably the cool part about today. Really open road. So I wanted to touch a little bit on big data here, and it is a complex topic. So I thought I'd do a bit of an introduction. An introduction to big data. We're gonna watch a real quick video, and then I got a few more words to add. We're gonna watch a video. So two guys walk into a bar. You think the second guy would have seen it. I'll be here all week.
So we constantly produce a lot of data. For example, via social media, public transport, and GPS. But it goes way beyond that. Daily, we upload 55 million pictures, 340 million tweets, and 1 billion documents. In total, we produce 2.5 quintillion bytes a day. That's a lot of zeros. It's ridiculous. We call this big data. But what's actually more important is what you can do with it. To process big data, you don't need huge computers. People work with the cloud, an endless network of normal servers, and powerful algorithms. This way, they can analyze over 1 million pieces of data in minutes. And the result? Well, for example, video streaming website Netflix analyzed the big data of their viewers, like popular shows and watching patterns. This way, they produced a successful series with the perfect combination of actors, directors, and storyline. Right now, the big data of traffic is being analyzed to develop a car that can drive completely accident-free all by itself. And in the future, we can even use the big data of DNA to determine the perfect treatment. This way, curing genetic diseases like cancer would become much easier. And that's just the start.
Our strategic theme today has been Service Redefined, which has been referred to by some as the greatest theme in Krebs history. Sorry, I just throw that in there. You're quoting Tash. Yeah. We have used this as our guiding principle to redefine how we serve our members. And it was nice to see so many members here today. Our goal as a board is to provide the very best in services and products to our members. It allows you to provide the best service and information to consumers. We have worked consistently this year to ensure that what you're being provided is not just good, it's excellent. And CREB remains committed to redefining members' expectations of the service boards provide. A great example of this type of thinking is an initiative that helped plant the seeds of big data work at CREB, the Presidential Task Force on Database Integrity, which has to be the most official sounding committee in the history of CREB. The goal for the task force was to come up with ways to ensure that our database is managed and maintained with the utmost integrity. Oh, by the way, there are some members of that committee in here, and thanks for being here today. And that it becomes a better source of business intelligence. One of the 6 principles in the task force mandate was to actively seek sources of data to supplement our database. This directed us to conversations about big data, those outside sources of information that we can layer with ours. It allows us to provide members and consumers with better tools for decision making. During my 2016 forecast speech, for the 6 of you in the room today that were there, I walked members through a possible scenario for how big data could transform the way we gather market intelligence for our members. For those of you who were there, to refresh your memories, and for those of you who weren't, to explain this a little bit more, I spoke about a future state where we could layer flood maps on top of transit maps, over our community maps, where we could click a button and see a home's permit history, which Shane has committed to having live at the end of the day tomorrow. Thank you, Shane. It's an inside joke. It's not ready yet, but it's coming. Our assessment history. See applicable school zones for a community. Visit the closest recreation center with ease. Access a community's demographic information. And all of this from within our system. Not to steal Shane's thunder, but I'm going to. Earlier this year, we launched a little product called Krebs Maps, an amazing tool that is already changing how we do business here at Krebs. For the members in the room, who was pretty pumped with that change to Krebs Maps from GeoJet? Yeah, that's good to see. It was all my idea. Just want to be clear about that before we go on, because Shane's going to say it was his. It wasn't. Krebs Maps allows our members to provide better market intelligence to consumers. In doing so, we help consumers make more informed decisions on buying a home, decisions that are directly tied to their lifestyle and individual needs and wants. This is search functionality that all consumers should have access to. And that brings up today and why we are here. The goals for today are to foster thought and conversation around big data and to help shape future big data work here at Krebs. I'm going to reiterate the fact that when we're talking about shaping the big data work here at Krebs, we're looking for input from you, from all of you.